This is Infection, the survival podcast, recorded live on Tuesday, November 28th, 2017, episode 150. Hello, everybody, and welcome to a special episode. Look at this, episode 150. It's just a big number of Infection, the survival podcast. Infection is your source for the latest information on survival video games. We bring you the latest news, reviews, updates, and more each and every week. My name is Nick Craig. You can follow me on Twitter at Nicholas M. Craig. Visit our website, infectionpodcast.com. I'll just bring everybody up to what's going on. Crazy technical. My audio's all screwed up. My headphones are all out of whack, but nobody else hears it. It's, you know, maybe I'm a sociopath. Is that when you hear stuff in your head? There's a certain path when you hear things in your head. Well, that's what's going on.
I don't remember what.
MD Brian Aldridge, welcome to the program, Brian. How are you?
Doing well. If you want to find me at Boise Computer on Twitter, or you're more than welcome to go check out my blog, biteoftech.com. Of course, go check out our website. We have infectionpodcast.com. If you're listening to this and you hear anything in the show notes or hear anything in the show that you're like, I wish I had the information on that, we have show notes on our website that will give you links, video links, and just a lot of the information that we discuss. We're following that throughout the show. So you should be able to find anything referencing to any topic that we discuss. So I'm sure encourage you to go there, check it out. And also while you're there, if you're not on our Discord, which I can't imagine why, I would encourage you to go and click on the right-hand side. It says join server. That'll get you on our Discord server. Also, we have the links for our YouTube on the right, our Twitch channel, our Twitter, also our podcast links. So if you have whatever app you're using, if you want to listen to us on the road, maybe you listen to us or watch us on YouTube, we have links there that will get with whatever kind of device that you're using on whatever platform. So all on our website, infectionpodcast.com. Absolutely.
Yes. Maybe you were doing a long drive or had a long drive for Thanksgiving. Maybe you're going to have a long drive for Christmas, going to see relatives.
Or just looking to fall asleep at night.
Yes. Which, you know, some people take that as offensive. I exclusively fall asleep listening to podcasts. Funny comedy podcasts. Eventually you just fall asleep. It's not, some people are offended by it. Like if I said, I fall asleep, it's so boring. No, it's just, I need to be able to, the same way people fall asleep watching TV.
Bad, you can't fall asleep to it because you're just like, oh man, that's horrible.
Yeah.
And you can't relax. If you get something that'll let you relax, I guess that's a good sign.
Yep. I listen to a couple podcasts and fall asleep, and it's good. So if you listen to us falling asleep, it's no offense taken. Not that I care, or I mean, really. But yeah, there you go. Brian, I'll open with this. How was your Thanksgiving? Did you have a good Thanksgiving?
We went okay. So we went to my wife's family's place I think at first, and then we didn't have a full meal there. And after, we went to my family's place.
Oh, there you go.
And we had all the turkey and stuffing and everything that would be a typical Thanksgiving.
American Thanksgiving.
So how was your living on your own? Did you go and spend Thanksgiving with anyone, or did you go to KFC?
No, definitely didn't go to KFC. No, I spent it with some with my boss and his family. They were gracious enough to invite me up to their house in Raleigh. So nice. It was good. It was good Thanksgiving. Hopefully everybody had a good Thanksgiving. I'm sure there's a whole bunch of people listening to the show on an extended drive or something like that. I'm preparing now for the shows are going to get a little wacky here in about 2 weeks. I haven't even told you this, Brian. I'm going to be in New York for about 3 weeks. Still haven't begun to even contemplate how we're going to produce the show that way. I just think if I just don't think about it, it'll just solve itself. So that'll be
procrastination.
Yeah, procrastination. So I've got about a 14 and a half hour ride up there. So I got to load up on some podcasts to get me up there. But in a couple of weeks, the shows are going to be like it's going to be very, very bare bones. It probably will just be this shot almost the entire show. So just I'll be producing it from my
We'll figure it
laptop.
out. We always have.
Well, we've never done this before. This is the first time. Every time we've done the show in the past, I've done this very convoluted TeamViewer remote desktop thing. We're not doing that this time because it's just way too much going on. So coming up here, it'll be the first remote show will be December 19th. That will be a little weird, but it we'll still have a show. It may be audio only. Who knows? But there will be a live. It probably will. It actually may be audio only. But there will be a live broadcast. So next couple shows will be a little, and then we'll have to figure out what we're doing for Christmas.
Do is record like 2 hours of us playing video games and just have that streaming.
We do need to figure out what we want to do for Christmas because it is going to be the day after Christmas, and I don't know if I'm going to be around. So we'll figure something out. But nevertheless, I don't know what I was talking about or how we got to this topic. But
I think it just came out of the blue.
All right, well, great. We were talking about this though before the show, Brian. Episode 150, of course, big number. Mm-hmm. We're coming up on 3 years? No, 2 years of doing the
3 years.
2015.
Years. It'll be 2018, so
it'll be 3 years.
3 years.
And that'll be in late January. Our first show is January 1st. Brian, I was a child.
January 20th.
I'm sorry, January 20th. I was a child.
2015.
That was a very long time ago. Like I know you were already a grown ass man, an adult in 2015. Yeah. I was a little baby on the internet. I mean, it's been. I
already made a life's mistakes. You're still working on it.
Yeah, exactly. I'm still making them. I'm starting to make them. So yeah, that'll be coming up here in a couple weeks. Really, I mean, it's not too far away. And then after that, we will probably be announcing we're going to be working out our idea to head out to PAX West out in Seattle, which will be in July or August of next year. So a lot of stuff going to be going on here over the next probably 2 months or so. And, of course, we thank everybody that listens to the broadcast. Thank everybody that tunes in live. We got a whole bunch of people in the chat. Really had everybody all riled up last week about the gambling. But we appreciate everybody that's tuning into the program. So,
yes,
I heard I left you hanging Friday night, and it was not my fault. It's not my fault.
So
I was away for Thanksgiving.
Rocket League.
So tell me what happened. I still have not talked to you. What happened, Brian?
All right. So I jumped in the channel, put up the announcement, and Joe came in and talked to me. He wasn't playing, but so I played a couple rounds of Rocket League by myself. It was great. And Joe, of course, with Joe hanging out and talking. So no, what's funny is my wife on Thanksgiving at my sister's house played some Rocket League on their PS4 with my nephew.
Yeah.
And she was like, that's a fun game. And so what do we do on Thanksgiving? We buy Rocket League over the weekend for her on PS4. And so she's been playing like that pretty much every night since then.
That's why I have not seen you play Call of Duty with me in about 2 weeks.
I log in a little bit but you guys aren't always on. Like
that's true.
It's just weird with ours.
Yes.
So
you're saying nobody came to play.
I've been playing a lot of Rocket League. Nobody showed up, but I've been playing a lot of Rocket League with my wife.
I was very close. I got in about 10:30. I had about a 2-hour ride home Friday night. I got in about 10:30, and I jumped on the PC, and I was like, up, and that's what I saw, like the chat logs of, like, oh, is anybody gonna play? And I was like, I missed it. I really tried, but unfortunately, got.
Well, I mean, it was pretty. Discord was pretty dead.
Yeah.
Joe is in tomorrow, so for him it was no longer the day after Thanksgiving. And do they even do Thanksgiving over in Australia?
No, they do not. It's a Canadian and an American thing.
Yeah. So we had most people were not even at their computers to even play it. So because we usually get a decent turnout for Rocket League, but it being the day after Thanksgiving,
tough.
So
Brian, I apologize. You are the superior host, and as our good friend Amnon is telling us in the chat, Brian is fulfilling his duty. So I mean, it's fine.
So did you get anything for Black Friday? We haven't really discussed this.
Game wise, no, I don't think so. It's funny. I got an email from Steam, and it was like, "Oh, 12 games on your wish list are on sale." I was like, "Oh, cool." And then I looked. I'm like, "Why are these games on my wish list?" Like they were all like crappy games.
Because they have those achievements. They have those achievements that you have to go through and be like, "Okay, now put this many games on your list."
No, I'd put these on my list, but like I'm talking like 2012, 2013. These were on my list, like very old games, and I'm like, "What?" So a bunch of, and it was funny because it's gotten to the point now where, obviously, I'm saying this. I'm talking to the Brian Aldridge. With how many games do you have your Steam open? How many games do you have on Steam? Can you quickly reference that?
Yeah,
Brian has got.
I've stopped redeeming my humble bundles. Even there's a bunch in there I don't even bother anymore. So I'm at 1177.
Okay, so you have 1100 games on Steam. So
yeah, almost 1200.
I've got like
probably if I redeemed all my humble bundles, I probably have 1200.
I've got nothing. I've got like 120 games or something like that. But it's whenever these things are on sale, what typically tends to be on sale is early access games. So I go to the home screen where it's got all the sales, and like more than half of it is grayed out because I already own half those games. So I didn't get anything. I didn't get anything for Black Friday. I bought some Christmas gifts on Cyber Monday. Some smart plugs that you can control with the Amazon device and the
like
Google
the Wemo or whatever.
Yeah, I think these are made by TP-Link. But I got a couple of those. But I mean, gaming wise, I saw there was a great deal on the PS4. I believe it was at Target. It was like $200. The Xbox One S was on sale for $300. PlayStation Plus was on sale. I mean, there was a whole bunch of sales if you wanted to jump into stuff. I think the Switch was on sale as well. But in terms of Steam games and most of the early access games, which are the ones that typically go on sale, I already have.
See, I got 2 PS4 games and that's it. Like I didn't get any PC games. I mean, we got Rocket League because it was on sale.
I saw that was on sale.
And
yeah,
then
it was like $9
then I got
or something.
Far Cry. Yeah. Yeah, it was $9 or something like that. It was cheap. Like it was $12.
And it was actually cheaper because of PlayStation Plus. It was on sale with PlayStation Plus, I believe.
Yeah,
because I saw that.
And that's and I've got all that now. So I got that, and then I got Far Cry Primal.
Oh, okay.
So I've been playing that because it was cheap enough. So
now Locklor's asking any word on the Steam Xmas sales start. I haven't seen anything. Typically, it gets leaked by PayPal every year. Mysteriously leaks the start and end dates of it. But typically, from what I remember in the past, it's like a week before Christmas and then the week of Christmas, and then it kind of fades. But see, unfortunately, what they've screwed themselves. Well, the community screwed themselves by screwing the flash sales up because people were
that's what really got me every year,
charging back the flash sales. So they'd buy the game at $2 and then return it when the game is not on sale and get $5 back. And I guess there just wasn't a good way to keep track of that information, so they canceled the flash sales, which was the only reason that made any of the sales any good. Because I mean, when games are on sale for 2 weeks,
so the date, so December 21st through the 27th is when this one should be.
Oh, really? So it'll only be a week.
Yep.
Okay, interesting.
So the 21st through the 27th. That's what I'm seeing here.
So that will be the Thursday before Christmas.
That's from Kotaku. So
that'll be the Thursday before Christmas to 2 days after Christmas, the 27th. So you're looking at almost a week there. Well, there's a couple things on sale. I retweeted Conan was on sale. It was like 45% off or something like that.
Miscreated is on sale through today. I think it ends today. So that's the thing, is if you're not listening to this live, you're probably missing the sales because I think a lot of them are turning off after today. So if you're looking to get something on sale again, the Christmas sale will probably be your next best bet, which is, as I said, less than a month.
Miscreated is not on sale as of right now, at least on Steam.
So it ended because they tweeted it
Gotcha.
Late last night saying it was one more day. So it must have just ended.
Gotcha. Well,
same thing with, so for our game of the week, this week we're doing Left 4 Dead 2.
Oh, yeah.
Which was on sale, and I mentioned it for people because right now it's $19.99. If you would have gotten over Black Friday, it was like $5 or something like that.
Well, that'll be fun.
So hopefully some people listened last week, and if they didn't have Left 4 Dead 2, they picked it up during the sale, and then will play with us this weekend.
Yep, Left 4 Dead 2 is always a good time. We'll do some crazy game modes and play around. So join us for that. That will be our new time, 8 p.m. Eastern is when we do that now. Friday night, same night. And we'll be playing Left 4 Dead 2, which I think is, I mean, if you've got a gaming PC, you just kind of own Left 4 Dead 2.
If you have a video card.
Yeah, pretty much. And even if you don't, like I played that on HT Intel.
Play it
graphics.
on a laptop.
Yeah, I mean, it'll play.
Yep.
So that's kind of a steeple of PC gaming is Left 4 Dead 2. So join us for that. That'll be Friday night, 8 p.m. Eastern. Our Discord, all that information's on our website, infectionpodcast.com. Well, after a long intro, Brian, about 15 minutes of us bantering, which is fine. I mean, that's why people listen anyway. Where do we go? Where do we go from here?
All right. So here's a story that was submitted on Discord.
Yes.
And it's regarding Fortnite. And we have reported a couple times that Fortnite is suing
children.
Or Epic, the makers of Fortnite, are suing hackers, right? They're suing. And usually what you would think they would do is sue the cheat developers.
Yes, don't shoot the messenger.
That doesn't always work because a lot of them are from out of the country. They're from places that maybe we don't have the ability to go and pursue them at. And so they went and they're suing a 14-year-old boy that I guess had downloaded these cheats from a website and were using them. So Epic went after that person. And the issue is, and there's actually a letter here. I don't know. There's a PDF attached to that.
Yeah, I saw that.
I don't know if you have the ability to pull that up or not. But this person writes a letter discussing this.
I apologize.
Side scrolls.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on here.
So this person writes a letter, and I just wanted to kind of read and highlight some of these things that they're kind of pointing out that are holes in the ability for Epic to come and pursue this child.
Now,
first of all,
I'm gonna slip in there before you do that, so the whole thing with this is this. We talked about this probably about a month and a half ago. This is their attempt to set an example. Obviously, suing one person does not change it. This was Epic's attempt to set an example. Blizzard, I believe, has done this in the past. Blizzard Activision has done this in the past with suing people.
This happened back in the 90s with music sharing as well. I'm sure they've done it with video sharing.
Yeah, the shoot a teacher, I remember.
Same thing. Yeah, this exact same thing happened back when music sharing was a big thing. And personally, I used to, when I was in high school or whatever, I shared music, and I'm certainly glad
Internet police are coming.
I wasn't pursued at that time. Yeah, I mean, it's just stupid things you do when you're young, right? And so,
well, plus it was just the time.
You gotta,
it was the wild west of the internet, right?
Well, it was. Yeah, there weren't the restrictions, or people. I mean, we had the restrictions before of you had to have a disc, right? MP3 players were pretty new. They had just come out. And so all of a sudden you have the ability to have as much music as you want on a device and carry it around, which now you talk to a kid today, that doesn't make any sense to them.
No.
Like, well, I can just go to Pandora. I can just
Spotify,
pull it up. I can go to YouTube. I whatever I want to do, you can get music. But back then you couldn't get music. It was something to where you had to own every single disc, and then you had to rip every single disc. And that was the transition from really low speed internet to people finally starting to get DSL and something that would actually download a song in something less than a half an hour to 45 minutes. And so people just, they didn't see anything wrong with it. And the music market had not adjusted yet to handling this, because now they changed their ways of doing things. They do streaming services and come up with ways to kind of accommodate people that want music now and want whatever they want now. But back then, everything was still go into the record store, go to the CD, go to whatever store, buy the CD, and and that's what you did. And that was the transition into what we have now, where they're like, oh, well, we need to start offering online downloads. But they did this suing. I mean, they started suing, and it ended up being kids and grandmas, because they went and sued the person who had the internet connection, not the person that might have actually been doing it. So it was a big ordeal. Now we'll see what happens. So this letter was written, and I'm going to cover here's some things that are pretty interesting. He does define in here, minor means a person under the age of 18 years who has not been court emancipated. This person has not been court emancipated. Furthermore, according to the standard EULA licensing agreement, they say use of software applications is available only to persons who can enter into a legally binding contract under applicable law. If you are a minor, i.e. under the age of 18, not competent or otherwise do not have the capacity to enter into a legally binding contract without the consent or assistance of another person, you may use website only under the supervision of a parent or a legal guardian as applicable who agrees to be bound by the EULA. One thing that they failed to acknowledge prior to the user accepting the EULA was by simply clicking a yes, an age range drop down or parental consent drop down, should have been used, because they're saying, well, there was no agreement, like with the parents, right? There was no thing saying, did you get parental consent? And so they're pointing out that here you're saying, if you're under the age of 18, you need to have, you can use the website with supervision.
Of course.
Like they're keeping it really generic. They're not using legal terms, right? Because that's not court binding. So they make a mention here that this child was not issued parental consent.
But hold on a second here, and I'm young enough to of course, legally this makes sense, but even if there was, the kid would have selected that he was over the age of 18. Let's just be realistic about it. Legally,
well, they could get him for they could get him for breach of contract. Though the thing is he probably filled this out correctly, the form out correctly. So they're saying that he didn't get parental consent. The parent is saying he didn't ask before he did it, yes, which he may not have.
Which I can guarantee you, a 14-year-old did not ask his mother or father if he can play Fortnite, because they would have said no. So he just downloaded and played it himself. Yeah,
and it's a free to play game.
Exactly.
So they're saying that they didn't go through and do the proper, verifications just to say, all right, you're agreeing that you have parental consent or that you're over the age of 18.
Yep. I remember also, doing those, big thing.
And then also in here, they mentioned that him being a minor, he is, under the eyes of the law, he's legally incapable of agreeing to terms and conditions.
That is true.
So this contract that they had him sign anyways is not legally binding, because he's not of legal age to be. It's something where you'd have to have your parents.
You can't agree,
or there's.
I dealt with this because I was working doing web design when I was under the age of 18, and I was asking around, should I have a contract? And so they said it didn't matter because I wasn't 18, and my side of the contract was never valid. Yeah,
back it up.
I could go after them. They couldn't come after me. There'd be no reason for them to sign it. There was no legally binding agreement. I'm not of legal age to be in an agreement. And for example, if you ever watch TV, every once in a while you'll hear a commercial that'll say, ask your parent. It'll be typically for a web, like I don't know, some game website or something like that. It'll say, must need parents' consent to log on or something like that. There's some weird federal. I guess it wouldn't be I guess it probably would be FTC laws that require them to disclose, hey, if you are under the age of whatever, you have to have your parents' consent to use the website, which is a great legal thing, but nobody does. There's the reality of it. This kid,
they're not going through and verifying. There's no, and it's very difficult to do on the internet.
Well, and there's no way to verify that you're 14. Besides your social security number, you don't have a driver's license, so there's no ID to check.
Not submitting in. So do you think that things like this will eventually lead to a kind of driver's license for the internet? I know they've discussed about like an internet ID, an official one.
God, I hope not.
because that's something I worried that people, because of the looseness of all this, will eventually lead to where they say, well, we need a way to cover ourselves.
Yeah,
or else we're not
exactly.
doing, what can they do on the internet? I mean, it's bad for the company because they don't have a way to back up certain things, because kids just go and be kids, right?
Yeah.
But that's the thing with the internet. If it's available for download. Now, here's the most interesting thing I saw that he pointed out.
Okay.
He said in the contract, when you download in the EULA, it says that the contract's between the licensor and the purchaser, establishing the purchaser's right to use the software. This being said, the game is free.
Still
It's a free
purchase.
game. So there's no purchase of said game. So there's
Mm,
no actual, they need to do a checkout process saying it's free. Like a lot of times when you get somebody and you're doing it as a purchase, you actually have a checkout and
Yeah.
there's something to verify.
I haven't
Like
downloaded.
this. It's just a download link.
Have you downloaded Fortnite?
Yes.
Okay, I have not.
You download the Epic launcher and you just click download.
Interesting.
I mean, there's no process of saying, I mean, they need to word that differently because it's not a purchase. Like there's no point where you actually feel like you're doing anything that is, giving you the game outside of you just have the launcher.
So my big thing here, there's a couple of different things that I run into. The first would be these documents, and I'm not a lawyer. Brian's not a lawyer. We're not pretending to be lawyers. Obviously, the law is that's people spend hundreds of thousands of dollars going to school to be lawyer. Brian and I know a couple of lawyers very well. Very, very sophisticated thing. I'm not trying to simplify it to a point. Yeah. But it appears that in most cases these EULAs are these things are written. These terms of service, a EULA, whatever it may be, are typically just written just enough to cover the company's ass. That's typically what they're for. Yeah. They're never meant to be.
And it only covers them against law-abiding people too. I mean, that's the issue. Is if it's someone over in a country where they can't pursue, or if it's a minor. Like the EULA doesn't matter anyways.
But see,
like,
I think
the difference.
I think the big thing here is these things are drafted these things are just drafted because you have to have a terms of service or you have to have a EULA. They're never actually supposed to be acted upon because they're so poorly written and just so poorly done that, in my opinion, they can't actually be written in the case of, we plan on suing using this legal binding contract or legal binding document, which is fine. Which is totally fine. That's how it works. You're required to have a terms of, if you sell a product on your website, you're required to or actually, if you collect user information, you are required to have terms of service on your website.
Yeah.
Or maybe it is if you're selling something. You're required to have terms of service listed. And most people just go to the internet and search for terms of service generator, and you go to a website, you type in the name of your company, and you click generate, and it spits out all the information. It's just something you just have to have it. It's not, you would never legally act upon it. Nobody could ever. That's why it's stupid. It doesn't make a difference. Like, it doesn't matter what their EULA said because they're not, half the people playing the game are the underage of 18. So it doesn't matter what the EULA says. Yeah. Now I think the real thing here is how Fortnite
or they're in China. Like, there's a huge number of players in China. What are you going to do? Are you going to go to China and sue that person? I mean, good luck. I just don't see it happening.
And Fortnite really screwed themselves with it. I mean, the optics on this are bad. Legally, did the kid break a law? Probably, because you're not allowed. I mean, it is copyright infringement to modify the game files. It doesn't matter if you purchased it, did it yourself. It's illegal it is illegal to tamper with it. That's against copyright.
So PH is bringing up a point here that the only reason this went to a lawsuit is because they did a DMCA. I'm going to tell the story of a little bit of what this kid did.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the kid downloaded a hack.
Yep.
He made a YouTube video and he posted a video on YouTube with him doing the hack. And so Epic did a DMC takedown of the video, just saying, we don't want this video on YouTube. And he actually did a counterclaim to the DMCA.
Interesting.
And so the issue is that they're required by law to either file a suit or drop the claim. And so they chose, rather than dropping the claim and letting him keep the YouTube video up, they then filed a suit. So that's the reason. And so it's not that he's a scapegoat so much, because the parents are saying, oh, he's just, you're just making him a scapegoat. Well, it sounds like they're trying to make it like the parents are trying to make an example of him in, I guess, the wrong way. So, this is an issue. I think this is an issue where the parents probably should have backed down and said, you know what, we realize if they would have just stopped and said, this is wrong, we realize that he shouldn't be doing this, and we're going to do everything we can to get him, we're going to make sure he doesn't do it again, and we're going to take down that YouTube video, I'm sure this whole thing would have gone away at that point. But because it's not like this kid, I mean, his parents know what's going on, and he's counterclaiming, trying to keep this video up. So obviously he's not really scared. And I think they're trying to make him a little bit scared.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And now that I'm actually doing some more research on this turns out this is actually filed in the Eastern District of North Carolina court. So this is actually that's the, I believe that's
your backyard.
I believe that's the area that I would fall under, Eastern North Carolina. Maybe that's Southeast. I'm not sure. But, well, there's a couple things here. First of all, Epic should have dropped. Epic should not have continued to go forward with this. They should have dropped the DMC. I mean, this is the thing. From a PR standpoint, it looks like Epic, big bad Epic Games, is suing a 14-year-old kid in North Carolina. That's not good optics. There is nothing to gain from this. Is this kid?
Most people don't read past the headline, the first paragraph of the article.
Game developer sues 14-year-old kid. Send. That's the headline. People are going to read that and go, "Oh, this video games are bad." All right, Jimmy, you're not playing this anymore because this 14-year-old kid is getting sued over it, and that's. Yep. I don't think they should have. And is this kid a scapegoat? Yes, he absolutely is. The whole point of filing this, the whole point of Epic going after these hackers is to turn somebody into a scapegoat. I mean, isn't that the whole point? They're not trying to stop hacking. They're trying to get a couple of people convicted, or just turn up. They just want to turn the heat up on a couple of people, and so that if I decide to go and buy hacks, my blocker is, well, they really effed that guy up, and I don't have the money to go through that, so I'm not going to buy this cheat on, coolcheatsforyou.net or whatever the website is. That is the goal. The goal is not to get, the goal is not to throw this kid behind bars. Obviously, they wouldn't, but the goal is not to throw this kid behind bars or throw you behind bars. Anybody that hacks in a game, that's not the goal. It's to set the record straight. To say, hey, stop doing this. There's ramifications. But we've seen how that works with piracy. Yeah. It doesn't work. Yep. So I think this is just a poor move.
The thing is, you've got to create alternatives, and I think a lot of this, as we kind of mentioned before, is you've got to go at, first of all, you have to tailor your things in a way that are going to be the least beneficial for hacking. And some games have done this. Some games have put in things to make it to where hacking is not really beneficial. Like sometimes it's like a progression system of some type, having it to where new accounts don't have the ability to have, even if they're hacking, be strong enough to really make a big difference, right? Versus, that's the biggest thing. You look at this where we have PUBG, we have H1Z1, and you can turn around and with a hack instantly get people get 40 something kills in a game.
Yeah.
And how can they stop that? I mean, there's no way through progression in a game like that they can do that, because those hacks are instant. The progression is quick in those games. And I don't know how with a game like Fortnite that they're going to turn around, and unless you have tiers inside of the game of players, have progression over time to where like you get ranked in the game, and new characters, fresh characters, don't have the ability to really affect the people who are at the higher tiers, or they can't even get in. And that way, if you're doing regular bans, like those hackers will always be fresh. They'll always be lower accounts. And so only the lower accounts will be the ones that you have to kind of grind through.
And does that make sense? It does. And to clarify this, because PH does make a good point, they're not actually suing him for cheating. They're suing him over the DMCA takedown claim, which is a good point to note. But for example, I just went to Bing and searched video game cheating and went to news. And these are some of the headlines. And this is why Epic should have dropped this. A 14-year-old is being sued for cheating in a video game, and his mom isn't having any of it. Epic Games is suing a child for cheating at its game. 14-year-old video game cheater sued. Mom says he's a scapegoat. Epic Games suing 14-year-old boy for cheating in Fortnite. Epic Games is suing a child for cheating at its game. Game developer Epic sues 14-year-olds for cheating in Fortnite Battle Royale. That's the headline. It doesn't matter if it's accurate or inaccurate. That's the public perception. And this is why this is just terrible, terrible, terrible optics for Epic and for Fortnite. Just not what you want. Not worth it.
I understand what they're doing.
As do I.
It's kind of annoying that this kid is counterclaiming it.
Yeah, because he's an idiot.
Yeah, I mean, so at that point, I mean, I'm okay with them going through and like making an example of him, just saying, "All right, you're going to be stupid. We'll teach you a life lesson right now," or at least because obviously his parents have something to do with this as well. And I think it's going to be teaching the parents a life lesson, but it's bad for this case. It's bad for Epic's persona or perception, because people, as you said, view this as, oh, they're just going after a kid. Well, no, actually the parents are probably pushing this, and the parents are being idiots, saying you're doing a "you don't tell me what to do with my kid" type of a situation is what I'm guessing is probably behind this.
The whole situation is just not.
I don't think anyone's going to win out of it. There's no win.
No,
it's not a win-win. It's a lose-lose.
Exactly, and I think that's the thing here. Is anything, and to be honest with you, nothing is most likely going to come of this.
No,
I mean realistically, now who knows? I may have to eat those words, but
Epic probably has a case. Epic has a case here, and so Epic will win in court. But we'll see. I mean,
how far are they going to push?
They're going to win in court. Yeah, but the thing is, they have money, and this kid, if they go to court, they're going to be ending up paying legal fees, and that'll be the example to the parents. I mean, whether or not the court may say, all right, we're charging you $1, but the thing is the legal fees.
Yes.
If they push up the legal fees, that'll be the amount of money that's going into this. Even if the court says, all right, your fine is $1.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I've seen enough of these where big company tries to go after, little individual for things that thousands of people are doing. Typically nothing comes of them. That, again, broad generalization, this may be different, but typically that's what the end result is nothing. So, we'll continue to follow this, but it's just not good optics. There's just, you've got a very good, I haven't played it, so maybe I'm not. But you've got a popular game. People enjoy playing it. I see people on PS4 playing it. People on PC playing it. It's just probably not the best idea to sue a 14-year-old kid. Cheating, not cheating, DMC a takedown. It's just not a good optic. You don't want headlines on Mashable saying that Epic Games is suing a 14-year-old. That's not. I mean, that's just not. It's not what you want. And I understand wanting to make the point, but there comes a point where it's just not worth it, and it seems like it's at that point because again, the headline is the most powerful thing. Nobody's going to read the article. Nobody. That's just not. This is how the internet is. Nobody reads the article. They scroll by. They see the headline.
Yeah.
And as Grizzly Bear is saying, unfortunately, it's the court of public opinion is what matters. Yes, you are absolutely right. That is exactly how it works.
In court, I think they're right.
Yes, they absolutely are right.
Legally, I think they're right, and I think that they should. I think they should do this, but they shouldn't do it.
Yes,
I mean, in all reasoning, like it makes sense that they're doing it, but is he worth their public perception? And it may be. I mean, they may not care. I mean, the thing is Epic makes their money in other ways with people that aren't going to really care about this. As I've said before, I think that a lot of what they're doing with these games is just coming up with improvements for their engine. They're learning about their engine. They're learning of how they need to improve their engine. I don't think they really care. They haven't been charging for Fortnite. I don't think they care a huge amount about whether or not 1,000 people quit playing because they saw this article. And probably in the long run, it won't make any difference.
No, probably not. But
so
there's just, and I'm glad.
I mean, the thing is, PH kind of brings up, can they turn this around into a PR positive, saying, you know what, we are strong on hackers. and we're even willing to shut down stupid kids that come and shoot you on the internet. I mean, if they could put a twist on it and kind of make it be like, yeah, I hate those stupid kids, that scream in the mic and have hackers that are hacking around it. If they could twist it in that way.
Can they? Probably. But the question is, you've got a popular game that people are really enjoying playing. Why? What, how much is there really to gain? I'm not sure. So I guess we'll leave it at that. If you've got an opinion, obviously we got some people in chat giving their opinions. If you want to tweet us, it's @InfectionCast. If you have your opinion, now we had a couple of people tweet us last week about the gambling thing. So, I mean, everybody's got an opinion. If you want to, get yours out there, shoot us a tweet. Brian and I will read it, and we'll read it on the show.
So you can change your minds.
Yeah, exactly. We can talk about that. So, Fortnite, kind of in some murky water, I guess would be the best way to put it.
I mean, people are playing it, and it's all in their own little ecosystem, so it's hard to know how many people are actually playing it. So we don't have Steam charts to sit there and say, all right, well, look at this, public perception is affecting the numbers like this. It's all up to what Epic feels like releasing. I think there's still plenty of people playing it. And if anything, maybe if I were a parent and I was like, oh, this 14-year-old kid's getting sued, all right, don't play that game.
Exactly. That's the goal.
And that's fine with me. I mean, if that ends up to where there's less 14-year-olds playing the game, which they're not supposed to be playing it anyways. It's a game about shooting people. And I know that doesn't really matter nowadays.
No.
But, I mean, maybe it'll make some parents just say, all right, play a different game.
Yeah, there you go. Go play.
And I think
go play PUBG.
Better off in the long run.
Yeah. Or Call of Duty, or just some other game where you kill people.
And scream into the mic.
Yeah, exactly. Scream to the mic or listen to. Never mind. All right. So obviously that's Fortnite, and that doesn't segue necessarily, but we talk about some PUBG. We've got a test server update for PC. This is PC version 1.0 that's on the test server, but this is update number 3. This is the third revision of the update that they've done. They go through their times and their dates. They're running through. Some of them run through December. They run through December 1st. So they've started either today or yesterday. There's a link in the show notes, infectionpodcast.com. You've got to convert for your time zone. But these are pretty much run through December 1st. So if you want to jump on the test server, this is your time to do it. I know the last time we mentioned it, it's
going through at least the first. I mean, it's on right now.
Yeah, well, because last time it was it was just ending. I think it was very close to ending. Yeah. Excuse me. So
they had one that went through the 24th. That finished, and then this one, and now they're having one that started yesterday, and it's going through the 1st.
Yes.
So and this is going to be solo and squads, first person, third person for the test for North America, Europe, and Asia.
Yeah, and there's pretty much one big bug fix that they did on here, which is pretty significant. Fixed an issue of the boost icon not showing of the health bar when you used a boost item. Obviously, not having that indicator pop up could be a big deal. Now the kill cam, we've talked about this, but they've got it in there now, and they're telling players now to please enable the kill cam in the options before you enter a match. So before you enter a match, enable the kill cam, and with the kill cam, they fixed some stuff there. 14-year-old gamer was going to buy Fortnite cheats with this money, but you guys have done 150 episodes and wanted to say thanks. So thank you for that. If you could pull up a full thing and read that, Brian, after that would be great. All right. So for the kill cam, fix some of the crashes related to the kill cam function, fix the client freezing issues after some recording the kill cam, fix the issue of weapon images overlapping in the inventory slot, and fix the delay on the weapon sound swapping animation when watching a kill cam. So that's some of the kill cam fixes on that. The sound, improved the red zone bomb sound effects and modified the volume of the explosions. Those explosions were very loud. So hopefully they've turned those down just a little bit. So hopefully that's good there. A couple of UI things. They changed the font for the game HUD, inventory items, and names. Improved the design of the compass. Improved the back panel colors and transparency for all game HUD elements. A whole bunch of other stuff with colors. They applied a blur effect to the background of the game's result screen. change the death icon of the kill log into a skull-shaped icon. And then they go through with their previous patch, which I believe we've already covered.
Yeah.
But I don't remember seeing this hit damage chart here. So I'll just go through this quickly. It shows the hit damage area. Where
this is something they adjusted. Remember they adjusted the neck and everything.
I don't remember looking at this graph though. I wonder if this is new.
No, so this is the first time we've seen the graph.
Okay.
They described it. They said the closer that you get to the body, so the chest, the more damage. So at the feet you have 30%, the hands you have 30%, and then as you go up the legs, it's 50% up to all the way up to the hips, and then your forearms is 50%, your upper arm is 60%, and then once you get into your shoulders, down in even in your chest, it's 110%. So the peak, the best place to shoot is actually around the heart area, which it's kind of surprising. The head is actually less damage than shooting the heart.
Isn't that crazy?
So, yeah. So I mean, maybe that'll encourage people to, it doesn't have to be 100% of a headshot anymore. But if you can get just a nice center of the body shot, you're good. So the neck is 75%. And so the head is 100%, shoulders 100%, the stomach is 100%. The right around like the area between your groin and your stomach, there's just a band there that's 90%. So I don't know why.
I think that's probably where you have a belt.
So
that's where you'd probably have a belt. Oops, excuse me. That's
probably
where
they're kind of covering where the belt is.
Yeah, I mean, every once in a while I got a good idea. Yeah, it's right above your hips. So that's where if you were wearing that fanny pack thing that you pick up, that's where that would be. Which is very cool that they do that, by the way. I don't believe I've seen that.
Yeah.
I don't believe I've seen that.
No, and that's the thing is with this, it's really difficult to go in and say, all right, let's do all these modifiers based on what they're wearing in certain parts of the body. And so this I think is just kind of covering that someone's always going to be wearing that. So just make the stat always that. Like do less checks on the server side. So yeah, I don't think I don't see anywhere else on the body that I feel like is doing that. But yeah, that does make sense for the.
Who knows? It's a guess, area. But it's about the only logical explanation, or the fact that there's really nothing there in your body. But
they actually go through and they show for each individual weapon. So each individual weapon has a different effect on different parts of the body.
Correct. It's kind of hard to see.
Okay, so it sounds like there's multiple calculations going in here. So this calculation is going to be based on per gun. So it's the amount of damage that gun is doing in general to that area. Then I think that there's then probably a division happening based on the area that it hits. So like the head, the chest, that's being subtracted from this amount, right? So that if you get a headshot, it's still going to be more powerful than a chest shot because all the weapons do more damage to the head. So if you get a headshot with a melee, like a punch, that's 150% damage. A pistol's 200% damage. A shotgun's 150% damage. So shooting somebody in the head with a pistol is actually more effective than shooting them anywhere with a shotgun at all. Submachine guns are 150% damage. Rifles are 230% damage. Marksman rifles are 230% damage. Sniper rifles are 250% damage to the head. Chest is always 100%. Now, what's kind of odd is the legs on a submachine gun is 120%, which I don't understand exactly why the legs are more powerful than a chest shot with a submachine gun.
Your guess is as good as mine.
Same thing with the punching. If you can punch at the legs, it's actually stronger than punching the chest. Pistols are just 100% for both the legs and the chest. Shotguns 75% on the legs. So rifles and machine guns are 90% on the legs. The marksman rifles are 95% on the legs, and same thing with the sniper rifles, 95% on the legs. So yeah, kind of an interesting diagram. I'm not sure I don't understand the logic of 100% of that. Like I don't get why some of those things make sense. Maybe they just found with the test bullet patterns, the number of bullets that are being flown out, like I don't know if the shotgun, how much of that is per pellet? Like, are they doing a certain number of pellets with a shotgun? So maybe there's a wider stance with the legs.
All I know is that from day one, they have collected mass amounts of information on the game. I remember very, very early on with this game, they talked about literally collecting everything that happens in the game.
Statistics. Yeah.
So, and fortunately for them, it allows them to craft charts like this and not just pull numbers out of thin air, because they can actually look at they can actually look at how people are getting killed, where they're getting killed. They can look at all that information and say, okay, this is.
They might view that submachine guns very rarely hit the feet.
There you go.
So they're like, well, let's make it a little more chance that, that's kind of even throughout the whole body that you're getting hit.
I mean, there's a million things.
Probably a much less chance that you're getting hit with the head with a submachine gun. So like, let's raise the chance that you'll die if you get hit in the head, if they get a lucky shot.
So, that's kind of they know what they're doing with this. This isn't, and I'll just say, this isn't a daybreak decision where they just, some jackass on Reddit has an idea and they implement it into the game. I mean, this is clear. This is backed up
CB
by
radios.
Yeah, exactly. CB radios.
Sorry.
But I mean, seriously, this is backed up by statistics, numbers, something. This is backed up by, I can imagine, terabytes of user data, where people were killed, how, all of that information. So again, they'll tweak it. Nothing is set in stone. This, half this may suck.
I like that they have the separate areas. It shows that they're doing
something,
collision checks on all these different parts of the body, and it's just not one big blob. It's not one big, all right, you shot him somewhere. Okay, here's 150% damage. They're actually breaking up all those detection boxes of, where is it hitting on the body, and giving it the right amount of damages. So I think this is a good first step that allows them to go in there and tweak a whole bunch. So I think and I like what I'm seeing there of how they broke it up. And they can, as you said, just tweak the numbers over time. If they find that it's too high of a chance that someone gets killed by, certain types of shots, they can just lower that section and there won't be an issue.
Yes.
One thing they did is a change in here. They said that they're changing the healing period for the bandages from 8.5 seconds to 4.5 seconds. So they're cutting that down a whole 4 seconds for placing a bandage on yourself and healing.
That's legit.
So that's the amount of time that it ticks up. So when you do the bandage, it's not going to be such a slow tick up in the health rate. You'll get pretty quickly, you're going to get your that amount of health back. So then you can then put on another one and keep raising it up over time, which I think, it was pretty long. People got used to playing that way, but I think we'll be good with having it being a shorter time. But as I said, the same amount of health is being restored. So it's just happening faster. Also, it says players can now parachute and land on certain areas that were not previously accessible. So this is including the outskirts of the island. They said adding markings for zeroing distances on 15x scope reticle texture, adding a new 4x reticle for the 7.62 millimeter weapons, adding new 4x reticle for sniper and SMG weapons, added blur effect on the outside of scopes. Bullets can now penetrate water based on the velocity of projectile. The faster the velocity, more shallow the penetration. They lowered camera position when proning in third person, decreased firing rate of the SKS and Mini 14, increased the sprinting speed while holding DMR in hands, now as fast as assault rifles. They decreased the recoil for the MK14, and then the 8X and 15X scopes cannot be attached to an M16 now. So you cannot put those on an M16, which be interesting. I never tried to put a 15X on there, but I think with the kind of the changes to the bullet system, it doesn't really make sense anymore anyways. Having the bullet drop and everything, trying to do 8X with a M16, it doesn't have the distance that the other ones did. So, and then they added 2 new weapons. This is in the test, but so they're going to be adding 2 new weapons to live pretty soon. And first one is the DP28. It has a 47 round pan that you can place on top. And it
Super
uses
cool
7.62 ammo.
Very
Yeah,
cool
looks
looking.
really good. It can use a sights and a 4x on that weapon. And it has a low firing rate, but a long effective firing range with high damage. So it shoots far, doesn't shoot very fast, and it does a high amount of damage. And then they added the AUG A3, and this gets you can get this through a care package. So these are the airdrops. It's a variant of the bullpup assault rifle and uses 5.56 ammo. It has a 30 round magazine, a standard, and 40 rounds with an extended mag, and has a high muzzle velocity, high rate of fire, and low vertical recoil. So they said that the Car 98 is no longer going to be included in the care packages. The world spawn rate for the Car 98 will remain the same, and you see those around the world anyways.
Yeah.
So they're putting this in there. This will be kind of one of the more rare weapons in there, and the Car 98 will just be the ones that you find around the world.
So the DP28 and the AUG, which the AUG is a very popular kind of video game gun. It's been in a couple of Call of Duties. It's a popular name for a gun in a video game.
Yep. Now, one thing they've done is they're also working to improve the in-game HUD. And there's 2 screenshots here. I don't know if you have a way of easily seeing. Is it very big?
Easily no, but I mean, it's kind of a small image.
So on the left is the old one, and they're just kind of cleaning it up, condensing some of the information as far as the kills. Yep, and how many people are left alive on the upper right. It shows your team now in the lower left, with some color variations, kind of help you to see who's who quickly with the dots on the upper part of the HUD. They have where your compass heading is, also shows you where the markers are. And then on the mini map, it seems like it's not in the same place, so it's kind of hard to say, but they did change the little icons that shows players from what I can tell. It looks like there's just different little icons for markers versus people, and it has a number next to the person as well now. So like if you're player number 1, you'll have a yellow icon, it'll have a number 1, it'll be a little yellow circle on there. So we'll have to play and see how it looks. And there's something above that, and I think that's the zone, because that's what it was in the old one. It shows the zone progression just above it. It's blue. That's very similar to how it was before.
So this is the new
and then
UI.
The bottom,
you can see. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and if you look at the bottom, they're actually showing like a quick thing to show you what armor you have. So do you have a helmet? Do you have body armor? Do you have med kits, things like that? So little indicators.
So there's the new UI. You can see it's cleaner, it's more modern. They've changed the font. It's a little more blocky. It stands out on a background now. It's a little, everything's a little bit bolder. So you can see that is the new one, and then over on this side is the old, kind of what you would expect from an alpha game UI. I mean, you can even see that 30 that is above the gun, showing how much ammo you have. It's very functional, but if you were to look up into the sky, that 30 would be probably very hard to read. In comparison
they
to
didn't put in kind of a transparency behind it.
Yeah, there's a little gray box behind it now. So this is, Brian, this is very, very similar to what we saw with Ark. Ark spent a lot of time going through, probably the last 6 months before release, doing stuff like this that we're seeing in PUBG, updating the font, making the volume a little bit lower on the red zone explosions. It's crazy to say because this game has been out literally less than a year, but we're talking about endgame already. Like this game's going to be released. There's a good chance this game will be full version 1.0 release before
by the end of the year.
By the end of the year, definitely before March. I mean, I don't see any reason why it will not be full release version by March 13th or whatever date it came out. So it's just they're already at the end game cleanup point, which is just baffling.
And they're doing okay. We saw with Ark, they were doing all those adjustments to the sounds. I mean, that was one of the last things. And if you look in this patch,
whole bunch,
and what they're doing a lot on the test server right now is they changed the lobby music that's at the beginning. They improved the vehicle sounds, which we showed like a week or two ago. They added sounds that will be played around the edge of the blue zone. They added 3 different sound effects for the red zone, sound of bombs being released, sound of bombs falling, sound of bombs exploding, added sounds when character jumps into the water, and the sounds different based on speeds. So, I mean, they're going through and doing that kind of tweaking part of the game that we saw at the very end of Arc.
Yeah.
So, they're definitely treating this like we're getting to that point of the development,
which is very cool. Which is very cool to see.
Yeah.
So,
so I think that'll be pretty soon, and it's nice they got to that UI point. And the game, I mean, it's a good game. So
it is. It's a great game. Now,
and I'm hoping that mods, like, they'll open up to where this is the platform that they kind of talked about it being, and we start seeing some really cool things coming from it once they release the kind of the developer tools to allow people to go in like they were able to with Arc and just make really cool things.
Now, there is another story surrounding PUBG, but before we get into that, Brian, can we announce our first game giveaway here as we're about at an hour mark into the program this evening?
All right, let me open up the raffle. So this will be a 30 points raffle. It'll be exclamation point giveaway, 30 points. And let me pull up the game giveaway that I didn't have it ready.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to catch you off guard. I just thought this was...
No, I've got it. We'll be good to go. I just don't have the links for it. So what I'm going to be doing for this one is giving away a copy of The Bard's Tale. And this is a game that is a classic game that they remastered. And I'm really a fan of the remasters because it used to be that they put a lot more time into games, making the games. I get a lot more thought into it. You see a lot of games. It seems like nowadays games just are constantly coming out. Right.
Yeah.
And now, or back then, like, they would spend 6 months to a year easily minimum on a game, possibly longer. And so this is one of those games, there's really good writing for it. It's a really entertaining story. And this game right now is $10, but it's been out since 2005, but this is the remastered and re-snarkled version, they say. But it's all voice acted. It's really funny. It's got a nice story that you go along. And so it's a lot of fun. And maybe you played the original one back in the day. It'd be fun to go through and play it with the upgraded graphics and all the voice acting. If not, then it'd still be a fun game to play for a person who's never seen the Bard's Tale series.
Now, JD has got the most important question. He says, does the remaster have loot crates?
Sorry, no loot crates in the Bard's Tale.
Not interested.
Everything is paid for.
Oh, I mean, that's atrocious that they would develop a full game and you have all of the features when you buy. I mean, that is atrocious. I can't believe it. Unreal.
I know who would want to play a game like that.
Yeah, who wouldn't want to constantly
just have to earn everything in game? I mean, it's just horrible.
Who wouldn't want to be putting my debit card into the CD slot on my PS4 to play a game? I mean, it's just the worst. It's the worst having to pay.
Yeah. Okay. So at what point do you think for security they'll be having to where you can just put the debit card in front of you'll put it in the front of the PS4.
You, my friend, will be in a very bad spot because you have zero self-control when it comes to purchasing add-ons. If you could swipe the debit,
if you put your card in right now, if you just put it in right now, you'll get this and you'll get this. You'll throw in this as well.
You have zero self-control when it comes to that. That will be very bad for somebody like you. You will not have
a funny story.
You'll be living on the street.
I'll tell you at PAX. If we're all hanging out talking at PAX, I have a funny story I'll tell you. I'm not going to tell it here.
Brian, PAX is literally 10 months from now. You think I'm going to be like...
I know, you got to remember. But I have a really funny story.
We'll be sitting around, we'll be having some drinks. It'll be great.
Yeah, so we'll go through and I'll tell you...
Lance, write this down. I know you're watching, Lance. Funny story, PAX. Need to be having some drinks, though. If you remember,
and I'll remember what story I'm talking about, I will tell it to you.
Brian, you remember episode 150 of Infection when you said you were going to tell me a story? Yeah, okay.
Yes. Just remember, it's no self-control story.
Oh my God, I'm ready to wrap up the show right now. Oh, I love you, Brian.
It's fine.
Okay, so moving on to actual topics of the program here.
Yes.
More Battlegrounds news. This this is a very interesting story out of Battlegrounds, and it is the right way to deal with the problem that we have been talking about, which is, as Brian coined it 3 weeks ago, the Asian invasion into the North American servers on Fortnite, PUBG, H1Z1, whatever.
Call of Duty did it.
Call of Duty, yeah,
they pulled it off, and we don't have these issues. Like, it's just you don't even notice it.
For people that don't know how Call of Duty deals with it, they release a Call of Duty every 12 months in the States, and it comes out it comes out in November of every year, and that's pretty much out in North America, parts of Europe. I believe it's out in Australia. It's pretty much a world release, except for parts of China. Actually, I think almost all of China, where they have a game that is called Call of Duty, that is they just keep it alive. It's a region-specific game. If you look up Call of Duty China, you'll just see the box art for some game that has a Call of Duty player, and it's just the game that they manage and maintain in China under the rules of, by the way, China is a
Call of Duty Online.
Call of Duty Online. China is a communist country, meaning that they control everything that everybody does and sees. So they're very strict guidelines on blood and gore, very, very strict. So Activision Blizzard deals with it the right way. They release their own special separate game for that region, and it works great because I don't know it exists, and the people in that region love to play the game.
I put a screenshot up there if you want to see kind of what it looks like. I mean, this is probably an old one,
from Charlie.
I don't know.
Yeah, well, this is actually a map from 2 Call of Duties ago. They did a remaster. This is a Call of Duty 4 map. But I mean, you can see what it is. It's just a region-specific game, and there's no overlap. There's no crossplay. It's literally its own thing. And in my opinion, being somebody that has played Call of Duties now for years, that is the right way to do it because it doesn't affect anything that I do. PUBG is doing the same thing. They are partnering up with Tencent, which is a very big Chinese publishing group. I guess they're a publisher or game developing group. I'm not really sure. They may be both. But essentially, they're bringing a localized version of PUBG to China, and with that, they're going to be bringing a PC version to China that's going to probably remove most of the blood and clean it up. It's going to be, there won't be any cop cars. We saw that with H1Z1. They're going to clean up the game, but with that, they're also going to be adding a mobile version, which you would think, why would you want to play this on mobile? For anybody that has listened to the Crummy Show before, Jake has done a whole bunch of research on, or not research, he's very in tune with how gaming goes on in parts of Asia. That would be Japan and China, and a lot of it is done on mobile phones. That's why the Nintendo 3DS, while not very big in the United States, sells like hotcakes in Japan and China because everybody's constantly on the move and they want to be able to play games while they're moving. When in America, home consoles are the big thing. People want to get home from work, sit down on the couch and play games.
And relax.
They don't do that in Japan and China. They want to play on the go. So with this now, they're going to have essentially a PC port of the game for people that play at home and a mobile version of the game, which is going to be super cool. Localized only. I mean, I don't know how you're going to play PUBG on the phone. let's be realistic.
It's going to be simplified.
You think?
Incredibly simplified.
I mean, like 2D stick figures running around. Thanks, Langun. That's his part of the server donation, which obviously Brian will get an update on Brian after this topic on that. But
yes.
This is like, I mean, you're talking about an incredibly complex, very specific play style in a game, Battlegrounds.
Yep.
How exactly do you take that and port it to this? By the way, with your thumbs being on.
So here's an example. Okay, let me give you an example of a company that was able to do something that maybe you would think, oh, that doesn't make sense.
Okay.
You've heard me talk about Vainglory, which is a MOBA. And they're actually releasing here in the next couple of weeks. They're doing private tests of it right now, but they're doing a full MOBA now on mobile that is just as capable as League of Legends and things like that.
Yeah, but
it has the full amount of lanes. It has characters that have all those abilities, very versatile. And so they were able to take that and they just made it as an incredibly streamlined experience where a lot of games really fail at it. They made it to where you actually felt the same, like you had the same amount of versatility with the character on mobile. There's very good controls, the graphics. I think they start a little bit more simplified and then they kind of make it more complex over time. With this, I think they're going to start really, really simple and then bring in the extra complexity over time. But I think they can get something close because if you think, I don't know if they're going to like even doing to where the movement of the, you could have it to where maybe the movement actually affects it too of the phone, for aiming, to get a little tweak on aiming. I mean, you could do some things to make it, because that's the big thing is sniper rifles. It's a really a pain.
That's my point. Let me give you my opinion. This is a Nintendo 3DS XL. This is the largest. This is the largest 3DS that they sell. Playing any game that requires precision on this is an unbelievable pain in the ass. I mean, the controls are garbage for precision. It's just not good. That's why you're not playing Call of Duty on the 3DS, because it sucks. There's no precision. And if I can't get precision on this dual screen thing with a joystick and a D-pad and a couple buttons and some triggers, I just can't for the life of me imagine how exactly I'm going to snipe somebody from 25 meters away on my phone screen while I'm riding on a train going to work in China. I don't see how this is possible. I really, honest to God, don't see how it's possible. It won't be the same game. It can't be. You're talking about a MOBA. MOBAs are essentially point and clicks. You click what you're attacking a tower or a person. Obviously League is a very serious thing and it's incredibly complex, but the gameplay itself requires you tapping where you want to go. I can see that being ported in some respect. How can you? I don't even see this game working with a controller. I mean, how is it going to work with the touch screen?
I think they're going to have to bring in, like what I was saying, having maybe the movement help you, like having you move the actual phone. Like they've got to bring in some other ways to make you feel like you're controlling the character, because using just thumbsticks is not going to be enough. Like you're not going to be able to get that feeling, and you don't want to zoom in and out with your fingers. Like, or they're going to have maybe a thing that just jumps between scope levels. Like it's going to be tough. It'd be interesting to see how they pulled off. It may be a really, really simple version.
I would love to play this. It's going to be region locked. I may buy a really cheap Chinese Android phone and see if I can't get this loaded. I would love to try this out more than you can imagine, because I'm at a loss for words. I literally have nothing to say. I don't see how you can take PUBG and put it on a phone screen. You can't even put it on a 3DS. I mean, what about the map? How are you going to open the map and the HUD,
the
be
incredibly
UI?
Small too.
I mean, come on. Like, obviously,
the thing is, the world has to be super simplified because your phone can't handle rendering all these things.
I mean, Christ, my GTX 960 or whatever I have doesn't play the game the smoothest. I can't imagine my iPhone is going to play it at 60 frames a second. So I guess there's no details. We don't have any of the information, but they are making a mobile version of the game.
They're playing off of the name, and so there's games that have big PC titles, console titles, and then they release a simplified version for the for the tablet, which I understand. Like if it's like that, to where it's just kind of a game based on the feeling of, in reference to this game, that sure, but it's not going to be PUBG in the mobile version, because there's just too much. Like, don't go in with the expectations that this is going to be a shrunk down PUBG.
Yeah, and the other thing to note as well is this would, I mean, this would flop like crazy in the U.S. But they're playing towards a market that is very, very mobile heavy, very, very mobile heavy. So it will most likely work, and it will be a whopping success. But the moral of the story, ladies and gentlemen, the whole point of me opening this was, this is how creating games for China should work. You don't cater your original game towards China, because in the meantime, you screw literally the rest of the world that wants to play it. You need to let somebody like Tencent, who is specifically works with developing games in China, that is regulated by the Chinese government, that is kosher with the Chinese government, you let them deal with it. And then you let everybody else in the world, and I hate to say this, but you let the normal people, I'll throw the people that don't have the restrictions of not being able to see blood. If I want to go out and watch somebody get decapitated, I can legally do that. There's nothing that's going to stop me. Let those people do what they want. Let the game play out their way. But the people with the extreme restrictions, they've got to have a game built for them. You can't change our game to cater to them. It just doesn't work.
Yeah.
That's why Call of Duty literally has its own version for China. That's why now PUBG is literally going, because if they had to cater PUBG, the same version that Brian and I play, that people want to play in an internet cafe in China, they would literally have to destroy the game. 100%, unequivocally, without a doubt, would have to completely destroy the game. Plain and simple.
Yeah. Well, and so we'll see. But as you said, I think it's a really good move.
Great.
I think that we've seen with Call of Duty, it worked very well. And hopefully it'll clean up a little bit of the experience that the other regions have been having because of that player base. So if it can, they're not going to be losing out. They still have the game. It's just, they can play their game in their way. And that's something we've said a long time ago about H1Z1. And you got a little bit of flack for bringing it up, but we've said we'll just give them their own playground, let them go play in their own.
Yeah, exactly.
So, all right, so let's go and do the giveaway really quick, and then we'll move on. All right, so Big Woody Sauce, congratulations, Big Woody Sauce.
Of course, our good friend Ross.
Have one. Yes, Ross, who he and Nick rip it up on Call of Duty.
Yeah, while Brian goes 1 in 80.
Not quite that bad yet. So
yes.
it's a lot of fun. They really make it so. There, one thing is there is a the system for Call of Duty actually links you up with players that are your level.
Yeah.
And when I play when I play with Ross and Nick, the problem is it puts me in with people that have, I don't remember the KDM or whatever, a much higher, like 4 times at least higher, like points per minute or whatever than I do, which means that they're killing at a much faster rate. So I figure with them having a 4 times higher, if I can not die 4 times for every kill I get, then I'm well on track.
And to just add a little cherry to the top of that, I'm now halfway through my 2nd prestige. So that level of players that we're getting matched with is only going to get higher. So you're really going to have to step up your game. But yes, thank you, Ross. Congratulations, and obviously we'll have another giveaway later on in the program here. But Brian, pigtailing on that, while we were talking about that, our good buddy Landgun, who of course we went to PAX East with last year, playing Call of Duty with him, will most likely be going to PAX West with us. Chipped in $50 for the server donation, which obviously is now passed, but this has been saying he was going to chip in for it, and he has. You got an update for us, Mr. Brian Aldridge. What's going on?
Yes, so the server is ready to go. I have a VM manager on it, and I have a install of Windows 10 on there, and I have a Linux server that's all ready to go.
Are you using Proxmox?
No.
Oh, okay.
I just found an interface for I found an interface that works with some of the built-in Ubuntu VMs systems. And so it's very lightweight and it's not super customized. The thing I run into with systems that are super customized like Proxmox is they integrate themselves so much with the operating system that then updates become a pain. Like updates are more likely to break, like the current updates. And so this is something that's just based on the existing default VM type of software that you can easily put into Ubuntu, and it's just an interface for managing it. So it's really lightweight. The system is, I mean, it so far it seems to be working really well. I mean, 128 gigs of RAM.
Yeah.
It's got 24 threads, I think.
Yes. Yeah. It's got 2 Xeons, right?
It's 12 cores, but and then 2 threads per core.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's pretty ridiculous. And it seemed to be running just fine. So that's ready to go. I'm going to be taking it down there. I got to run some network cable to the location, and then I'll be doing that this week. So I'll be putting it in place, running the network cable to it. And so it hopefully will be up to have us play with it and do some tests this weekend.
Now, does it sound like a jet is taking off when you turn it on? It's got to be loud.
Incredibly quiet.
Really?
Yeah, this one's very quiet.
That's
shocking. I was expecting. That's why I was like, I got to put this thing out like in an area where it's not going to be heard.
Dell Power Edge.
The Power Edge. This one's an HP.
That's what I'm saying. The Dell Power Edge. You go watch like a YouTube video.
Much quieter. The Dell Power Edge. You just hear in the background. Oh,
it literally sounds
like I could be running it in here, and you probably wouldn't hear it.
Yeah.
If I had to plug it in here. That's with both power supplies running.
Oh, well, that's good. Good to hear. I was a little concerned about that. So, nevertheless, if you're around this weekend, I'll make sure I'm around this weekend. We may spin up a quick Minecraft server and try to lag it out, and we'll probably do some testing with it. We'll probably spawn in a trillion things at one time and see what how far we can push the server before we start getting issues. So if you're around this weekend, of course, you're in our Discord. Stay tuned in Discord, and Brian, we'll post.
Is that way I can tweak how many? Because I set how much of the processor it has access to, so I can say, all right, give it access to 12 cores, or 12 threads. Give it access to 32 gigs of RAM. So what I've been doing is just giving it access to like 32 gigs of RAM and half the cores.
Yeah,
and so we could bump that up depending on, usage. But we could bump that up, knock it down. It'd be nice to kind of play with some of the settings, have everybody go on it, see what it does. Saul says run 7 Days to Die on it. We'll really have a test there.
Yeah, that'll be good.
See if we can lag out 7 Days to Die.
So hopefully you're around this weekend. If so, just keep an eye on Discord. We'll probably do some testing over the weekend. And then coming next Tuesday's show, we'll announce what kind of servers we're going to be running and all the details and stuff going forward. So again, thanks to everybody that donated and made the server, the server fund possible. And then, as I've been saying for a couple weeks, we're going to be coming back at you here in just a couple months, probably 2 or 3 months, with our big trip out to Seattle for PAX. So we appreciate it, and you guys are the reason to keep doing the program. And now we're not going to have to hamper Brian's current server and affect screw his
7
stuff.
Days to Die, lag out my server.
Yeah, lag out.
Websites are all unavailable.
Yeah,
to Die is taking
because Saul is saving
resources.
Yeah, Saul has a horde going of zombies chasing around. It crashes the entire server.
What's funny is on 7 Days to Die, everyone would get on at once, and when you do the new spawn, everybody starts running the opposite directions.
Yeah,
and 7 Days to Die generates the map as you run. And so it's generating the map in like 7, 8, 9 different directions all at once on the server. And just the CPU is hammered because everybody is doing this, which, it's fun, but it's not exactly optimized.
Now, I remember you did this last time. There's a script where you logged somebody in that just drew didn't it just draw circles kind of around to generate?
Yeah, I had an offline bot that would sit there and just go back and forth, like it would move. It would teleport every certain number of steps to generate the map beforehand.
Yeah.
So that's how I was trying to get around it to where people wouldn't lag out when they're actually playing.
And then even when we got in there, it still was
over time.
It still was happening.
Still would do it. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's talk about 7 Days to Die real quickly then, and then we'll jump back to some other news. You've got a couple things here from 7 Days to Die. This is a game that it seems like nothing goes on for months at a time. You don't hear anything, and then all of a sudden you've got something new popping up. So you got a couple images here, Brian. What are we looking at?
All right. So first they have a new deer and stag, or a doe and a stag, that they're going to be putting in. So this is just the model for the stag that you can see. So this will be one of the characters to be able to hunt, get some meat from. as a source of food in there. So that should be coming up in the next patch. The next one after that, just kind of showing, I thought it was interesting to see a model outside of the world, but they have a bus that they're adding in there.
As an object.
Just kind of broken down bus. Yeah, a prop that's going to be out there, not a drivable bus. But I thought it was interesting just kind of see the level of detail and how they do it.
It's incredibly detailed.
Yeah, if you look at like the paint, they did a nice rust. Like you can tell there's a rust texture on the. If you think of how detailed the game is, I think that this is kind of the level they're going for.
Yeah, I mean, this is like
on here.
This is to the level of whatever that zombie game I'm playing on the PlayStation is, The Last of Us. I mean, this is the kind of detail you see in a game like The Last of Us. The headlights there's corrosion on the headlights, which is what you would expect because there's a separation between metal and typically glass or plastic. I mean, it's legit. Yeah. It looks good.
So I think that this is, if you're wondering, because a lot of the things you see in there are stuff that's kind of original. They haven't updated it yet. Old graphics. I think this is kind of where they're aiming for as far as level quality.
Yeah, and that's good. That's good to hear.
And then the second one, there's a video, and it shows they actually have put in motion captured animations for the characters now.
Any time specifically you want me to go to?
If you want to jump around a minute, and then hit play, minute and a half, probably around there. Yeah. So you can see, just hit play, and you can see the character walking away. And walking towards you.
Oh yeah, it does looks much better. It's
much more of a smooth, an actual movement of a person walking around. If you go to about 4 minutes 30 seconds, you can see a male version of the same thing that is running around.
Yeah. The shoulders are actually your shoulders are actually being thrown back the way they actually are if you run.
Yeah, they're moving, but they're actually moving when you run.
Yeah.
And then if you want to jump to about six minutes, they put in new animations for the bicycle that they have in there. So you can look, and they actually have motion capture of a person riding a bike here. And so,
very cool. The legs are moving. Oh, that's awesome. That looks very, very cool. That looks great.
So it actually looks correct for how a person should be moving. And then if you go to about 10 minutes.
Okay.
Now this at 10 minutes, this shows the motorcycle. So it shows somebody riding on a motorcycle, which looks like a very natural stance.
Mm-hmm.
So you got a much more natural look to that. And then if you go to about 12 minutes 45 seconds, actually be probably closer. They have a concept in here for an upcoming vehicle they want to do. So I guess this would be legit. Good for clearing the road of zombies. It's got a grate up front for kind of like with the old cattle cars, or the cattle grates that they had on trains. Has one of those for the front. Huge pipes off the back or on the top of it. Turbocharge, or it's a supercharger. So kind of funny. And we'll have a video to this on the website in the show notes if you want to check that out. And then finally, go ahead.
I was just going to say, for people, this is all done. Is this done by Joel as well? Yeah. These are long videos. They're 17 minutes, and he actually talks through them and describes them. But we just kind of skip back and forth. So if you're super into 7 days, I mean, you could just listen to one of the main developers just talking about all these different things. So highly recommend that.
Yep.
And what else?
All right. And then if you want to jump to 14 minutes, and if you remember, pretty much the only way to drive around was on that little motorcycle that you built.
Oh my.
And so now they're putting in an actual drivable car.
Except the head is coming through the ceiling.
Yeah. Well,
I believe that's
everything.
No. Is that the head of the driver coming through the ceiling? That's what it looks like.
Yeah, because the driver's sitting in the middle of the car, it looks like.
That's pretty funny.
It's still a work in progress. So anyway, so that's the car. They'll be putting that in. So more ways to get around the map. Hopefully they'll optimize it more, because this will be a much easier way to crash the server now.
Yeah, I mean, you're telling
all these people driving in vehicles.
I can only imagine. Yeah, we're gonna need more RAM. that
The
server is
motorcycle would crash out the server.
Yeah, the server
And
will
so
combust if everybody's driving cars around.
Yeah, so this will be A17. So this is Alpha 17. So here, the first comment on their YouTube video for this says, just a suggestion, maybe optimize the game after the vehicles and new animations because it eats up all 8 gigabytes of RAM. All my 8 gigabytes of RAM.
Well, that's a lightweight.
So,
that's why we didn't go with a.
Yeah, that's nothing.
That's why. Yeah, exactly. That's why we didn't go with 12 gigs of RAM for a server because we want to be able to play games like this. So what'll probably happen here? This isn't out yet, but it'll updates tend to come out sometime soon after the videos for the most part. So I'd say probably when this update comes out, we will most likely spawn up a server and try it again with these new vehicles and stuff
we'll
like
load
that.
in 10 cars and have everybody drive the opposite directions.
Yeah, well, we'll do that, but we'll probably actually start a 7-day server probably with this new update because this will be some cool stuff to work towards, like a car and the bikes and stuff like that. So look forward, if you're a 7 Days fan, look for one probably early in the new year. I would imagine when this will be out. So
just as an idea, they're doing a vehicle physics overhaul for the bicycle and motorcycle. And then they're doing they're redoing the sleeper system in this one, kind of like how the zombies sleep.
Yep.
Dungeon point of interest 2.0, so they're adding a whole new set of dungeons to it. They have all those animations for the motion capture. They're overhauling the weapon system, overhauling the buff system, and overhauling the progression system in this one. So
it's a big update.
Yeah, so it should be a pretty big one. So it'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah, hopefully we see it in a
but I don't know 100% of when it's coming out.
Yeah, and that's been the biggest issue. I mean, we've really enjoyed playing 7 Days to Die, but I mean, my biggest gripe, obviously besides the game literally being one of the worst optimized games I've ever played, is just these updates. And it's a small team, it's a couple people, but these updates just take forever. I mean, I will be significantly older by the time this update comes out. I mean, I'm saying it in a joking fashion, but the updates take like that level of detail update we were waiting for with the cities. I mean, we were talking like 6 months. We were talking about that coming into the game before it actually, appeared. So that is definitely an issue for a small development team with a game that is so extensive. If you've never played 7 Days to Die, it is so incredibly extensive with what is in that game. It's incredibly extensive. Yeah. And that's very hard to maintain and manage and do updates with such a small development team. So, but I mean, they do a hell of a job. Yeah. Every time we've played the game, I've had an unbelievable amount of fun. I mean, all of us have really.
And there's
really
a lot of stuff coming in this one to where I think it'll really. I like the idea of the dungeon system kind of giving you those extra things to discover.
Yeah.
Creating. Because that's the biggest thing is, what's one thing that's really fun about the game is kind of finding, because it's randomly generated, just finding all those things.
Yep.
So,
and
interesting
from last time, hatsforsingles.com.
Yep.
Check it out.
Check it out.
Yeah, check it out.
All right. So let's go and move on. Just pretty short here for Just Survive.
Oh, do you want to go back to Ark?
Oh, yeah.
I skipped over Ark because we were talking about 7 days. I apologize.
And this is actually going to be really short. Aberration, I did put a note on here. Aberration is coming out December 12th.
Oh, yeah.
So December 12th we'll have Aberration, but they did 2 small patches this week. So 273.86, and that was November 25th. Implemented more parallel rendering code, which gave about a 10% CPU performance boost on the game. And then 273.882, this was on the 26th. They fixed some rendering crashes related to specific meshes caused by the new parallel rendering code, and then fixed ground clutter flickering on and off on certain maps. So that is pretty much all the Ark news this week.
Wow. Exciting.
So I think they're all working on Aberration because they're
behind at this point. Are they about a month behind now? Well, 2 months. But when was this
supposed to be in October?
So they're going to be 2 months behind.
It'll be a month and a half by the time
it comes out.
I mean, they were going to release at the end of October, so we're about a month.
Okay,
definitely a month behind.
Well, right then I could see why everybody's working on it. Nothing worse than being a month delayed.
Yep. So, all right, and then Just Survive. They have had some information here on the G202 errors and cheating, and it says there's and this is a note from them that they put out yesterday. This was from one of the Daybreak employees. So there's a lot going on under the hood of Just Survive. While the overwhelming majority of players play the game fairly, I like how they put overwhelming majority. I don't know about that.
Yeah, I'll cover the numbers for the first time.
All 60% of people playing fairly on the game. There's a subset of folks who seek to exploit and cheat their way to victory without any sense of dignity or morality. I like how they try to shame them there.
It's the internet.
Yeah, there are multiple vectors through which people attempt to cheat, including here. So if you need to write down different ways that you can cheat, write this down. Modifying the way the game or BattlEye, part of our anti-cheat system, communicate with the game servers.
Yep.
Modify the way the game client runs or the files it uses, and then finding and exploiting a rule-breaking bug, example, to duplicate items or push through collision.
Now,
so the recent updates have...
But hold on, because that last one really pisses me off. Finding and exploiting a rule-breaking bug. Call of Duty has a huge bug in one of their maps right now where you can literally hop on top of an object and be invisible. That is their fault, not mine. That is not me I hate when developers do this. They do this crap all the time. You're incompetent at your job and you've left an exploit that me as a fair playing user can take advantage of. Finding and exploiting a rule-breaking bug. They throw
this in there so that they can then say you're in trouble for playing a buggy game. I mean, it's pretty much what it ends up being. Because if I can jump on top of a place that no one else can, and I can shoot people, like you were saying with Call of Duty, well, that's a sniper point. That's a sniper's nest for me.
Yeah.
I know it's really unfair to have a sniper's nest when you're not the sniper. But, I think that on this, if there's something that's a rule breaking bug, fix the bug. Don't ban people for doing.
I hate when developers we left a bug in the game and you've decided to use it. Like, well, I'm sorry. Why would you fix your garbage and this isn't just H1Z1, this is in general. Fix your crap before you come at me like, oh, I'm the bad guy. And I know the argument, but if the door's unlocked, you just go in and steal stuff from somebody's house. It's not the same. It's not the same example. So
yeah,
I hate when developers throw this, and they always do this. Oh, you're using a game.
So okay, here's an example that's closer. So let's say that you buy a security system, and then you figure out a way on that security system to where you don't have to pay the $20 a month to dial back to the place that that's hardwired to do.
Yeah.
And you go in and you modify it and you have it go to a cheaper company. Well, people could consider that a break of terms of service.
Well, it would be.
Well, I bought the hardware.
Yeah, but you're talking about a different thing. Now we're talking about terms of service, which is different.
Well, but that's how they're getting you on this. They're getting you with those rule breaking bugs because it's in the terms of service.
Oh yeah, that you can't use an exploit.
That's why they're banning people for it.
Yeah.
Yes. And so that's what I'm saying is at what point, if I own something, I can play it however it's written. I can play it how it's made. I'm not modifying anything.
Yeah. Well, that's
like they're saying with the first two.
Yeah.
You're playing it how they made it. And if they don't like how they made it, fix that.
Yes.
Change it. I'm going to play it exactly how it's made. And the same thing is if I have a system to where I own it, now with a security system, even if I went through and modified it, I should have the right to do that. I own it. With this, I understand it's an online service. Well, if I'm still fitting it within that online service where I'm not affecting how it, not changing how it runs to make it do what I want, I'm just playing the game how it is.
You are. You're right on.
All right. So in here, they say the recent updates have included significant improvements to our detection features across all of the above. I don't know how so they're detecting people exploiting now more, it sounds like. We've shut down a significant number of cheats and exploits over the past few weeks. One of the most powerful weapons in the anti-cheat arsenal is still relatively new, and we're working out the kinks. This is why we have seen 2 batches of erroneous G202 errors. We fixed it the first time around, but are investigating the second issue still to be determined why things went haywire. So They said a fix for this is just pushed out a few moments ago, and this was yesterday. So if you receive an error, this G202 arrow erroneously, there's no need to plead your innocence. The error will clear up with time, and you'll be able to get back in. So it was banning people saying, they were cheating when they were not. So it says, however, there are a number of folks this weekend who thought they had found a great new cheat method that was undetected. They are wrong, and a large ban wave is incoming.
Good.
So
that's the way to do it.
Yeah, leave a hole, and when people go in that hole, say you're a cheater.
And it's very simple. Honeypots. That's exactly what a honeypot is. I love it.
I mean, that's the thing is, if they see that there's something that can be exploited, let that happen for a period of time. Measure all the people that are doing it, ban them all.
Yes, absolutely. I'm in full agreement.
I think it would be great to have something that normally a player cannot see and cannot get to. Right, sitting in the world, that a hacker can see the little thing. They go and interact with it. They do whatever. They can see it, and okay, that person's cheating. They should not have seen that object.
But Saul says entrapment, but that's fine because these people are cheaters and they deserve it. It doesn't matter.
My terms of service.
Yeah.
I have the right to entrap you.
You don't get entrapped. You're not protected under the law if you're a cheater. you lose all your rights. Yeah. But I do like this post. Because here's the thing. I'm not going to play the game anyway because of what they've attempted to do with it. Spending 6 months developing all this new stuff to just kind of wipe it all clean. But the most base level thing is if you can't play the game without cheaters, you can't get you can't get up to the next level. You can't start building any confidence with the community and there's no point of even working on anything else. New maps, new base building, new guns, new vehicles, it doesn't matter. If you can't keep the game free of hackers, don't waste your time. There's no point. You could have the greatest building system in the world. If everybody in the world is speed hacking and using magic bullet, it's not worth a damn. Because I'm going to die every time. So, I mean, this might be a step in the right direction. But who knows?
Yeah, and hopefully, and I'm sure whatever they're working on here equally applies to H1Z1. So, it could just be all tech that's being worked on for the regular H1Z1, and then they could take dual credit here. Say, oh, look at what we came up with when it's just Daybreak making it. So,
it's very true.
But that's the G202. So if you are playing Just Survive, you may notice those errors. Now, here's something for H1Z1.
Oh boy,
Nick refers to as
it's
King of the Kill.
Check my handy graphic here. Yep, still King of the Kill.
Okay, we're good. So we have so we've got something here that they're talking about that ENAS. So it's
the Eastern North American
North American snake.
Strafe. Yeah, okay. Snake.
Well, because you move like a snake with it. So I figured maybe it was snake. All right. And so this is where they go through, and because they're using the lousy mechanics of the game, player mechanics, they can sit there and go back and forth and just be almost impossible to shoot.
Yes.
So this is another Daybreak employee putting in a little bit of details about movement changes that they're putting into H1Z1 here soon. They said a couple of seasons ago, there were some changes on how the character accelerates and decelerates in H1Z1. The values for these two variables were set to 0, and the initial feedback was very positive, which is understandable as it made the game feel incredibly responsive when it came to movement. After some time, however, that feedback deteriorated over time, and the movement in the game became very frustrating to play against. So in response to this and the feedback about ENAS, we have pushed some changes to the test server. These changes are a step towards preseason 3 movement. So preseason 3, are we on 6,
8,
7? I don't know. Yeah.
8 is coming up.
So
copy and paste from preseason 3 when they did the exact same thing.
Yes. We want to see how these feel before we go further. So we understand the game is going to feel a bit slower, but we're confident that will help combat feel more consistent. So that being said, on the test server right now, and go into the combat zone. You can see the new movement changes for yourself. So on here, I have a video.
I gotta stop first. I gotta stop first.
Yeah.
So, I'm taking to my personal life. So before the show, I had to stop at Walmart to get some drinks and some food. So as I'm waiting in line, there's a long line at the thing. So I had already read through about half the show notes and looked some stuff up. So I'm in Walmart and I'm reading this Reddit post, and I was like, I couldn't control myself. I was like talking out loud about how absurd this post was. And then I get home and see the video. These people are insane. I mean, this post is, and then the comments on this Reddit post are the epitome of why you'd never publish anything on the internet. But I'm sorry to cut you off there, Brian. This video is unbelievable.
Oh, it's fine.
I mean, this video really is.
All right. So this is on the test server. So this shows the movement system. So he's going back and forth and he's like, it feels kind of laggy. Like it feels the same. And it's like, but then look at the other guy he's running with. So this guy's going back and forth and showing an example of what's supposedly fixed. So this is what the adjust. And if you look, like he is just
literally just
all over the place,
literally shifting, like just jumping all over
the body's not smoothly going left and right. It's horrible. And this is the fixed version.
Yeah.
This is the fixed version. I can't even imagine. I mean, people get used to just doing the crazy movements, but like, how do you shoot that? You know what I'm saying?
I mean, look at this. The body literally just shifted like 30 pixels. Like it just completely moves.
Yep. So that's the issue is their animations. Okay, let's go. I'm going to go technical for just a second. They are supposed to have blend spaces. And probably with their engine, it's a lot of work and they don't want to bother too much with blend spaces. But with the blend space, what you do is say, all right, when you're going left, I do this running animation when I'm running to the left. Okay, now when I want to transition and I want to go right, I have an animation that transitions and the legs smoothly transition to now shift my body to be running right. Well, they don't have that in here because if you look, there's just the running forward animation and all it does is just move the body around. Like there's no actual realistic movement of the legs transitioning. The person's always running forward and they're just changing where they're at on the screen in the same forward running motion. So that looks
like somebody,
I mean, it's horrible game design.
It looks like somebody playing on like McDonald's free Wi-Fi. Like that's what I would expect to see with somebody with very, very poor internet. That's what I would expect to see. Somebody that is just shifting all over the place. And then you go through the comments.
And that's what happens when you just run left and right.
And then I'll just read through the comments here. Is it me or nothing changed? Feels absolutely the same. Yeah, I don't feel a change. Please tell me how this is not the quote update. Wow, looks 10 times worse as expected. Lol, GG. Oh my dear God, nothing changed. This is worse now. People are warping around. I mean, are you kidding me?
Here someone says, do you guys actually do any testing on your own? It took a whole 5 minutes for us to all see it's still broken, but somehow you decided to push this out for test. Thanks, Clegg. That's all I can say. Thanks, Clegg.
Every week, I don't want to talk about this game anymore because it's a burning dumpster fire and it's boring.
Train wreck.
But I mean, how in God's name are they publishing this? I read this Reddit post and I was already all pissed off based on the post because it was just nonsense. And then I see the video and it's like, what in the hell? I mean, are you guys just hitting the kegerator all day? Is that all anybody does there?
Well, I'm sure. Yeah, they're drinking the keg so much that by the end of the day, everything's blurred. So it's like, oh, look at those blend spaces. Everything blends together so nice.
Like, I mean, it's literally like
a nice blur across the screen.
I mean, it's literally like they're like, hey, let's take this version and we'll just append the number, and we'll just say, hey, it's the test update, and we'll write a description. I mean, literally,
like, oh man, we went the whole day without working. All right, we gotta We're gonna put down something. All right, we fixed the movement.
Rev 48.
Push it out.
Preseason 3. Hey, you got that post from preseason 3? Copy and paste that. I mean, come on. It doesn't take. I mean, the fact that, and by the way, their Reddit has been extreme. Their social media in general. When you look at the post for remastering Z1, Reddit is losing their minds. Everybody's so excited and can't wait to play on it. So clearly the Reddit is not completely turned on them. You go to this post and it is literally nothing but people saying, "What are you doing? How is this an update?"
Yeah.
I mean, and then the post, and then the Reddit author writes a comment. "Hey everyone, we've been noticing the feedback and general consensus is the changes weren't enough." How much worse could it have been beforehand besides players literally just warping around?
Yeah.
Brian, I'm at a loss for words. So I literally do not have anything else to say.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of this is, everything is done by hand. Like there's no, it's probably really hard with the tools that they have to really test a lot of these things. And so I think that, like, they have to go through and manually, like they're probably changing numbers and then saying, "Okay, now let's try it. Oh, let's put that to a 10. All right, let's try now. Oh, okay, up it a little bit more. Let's try it now." Like, there's no data behind it. It'd be nice to see, all right, here's 10 different versions, like different, which one is too much, which one is too little. All right, now let's go halfway in between that. I don't think they're doing that because it's barely changed. They're like, just, okay, up at +1 is what they're doing. Not actually looking at, here's good, here's bad. All right, let's figure it out.
I mean, as going through this, there's literally not a single positive comment. And these are people that
sounds like their Humble Bundle, which is going to be coming out in a couple days.
Oh,
I wish I could get sales statistics on that.
Well, I mean, who knows? But you know, you just scrolling through. Here we go again with the blatant lies. Just admit you have no clue. I mean, you guys have a lot of time to, if you jump into Just Survive servers for about 5 or 10 minutes. I mean, you're just going through this. Daybreak devs are people that are typically fanning the game are saying, "What? I mean, what the hell are you doing? How in God's name are you writing a Reddit post about how you fixed it? We've pushed some changes to make it better." And then I see a video of a guy literally just shifting around. I mean, talk about disconnection from reality. Wake up, folks. Stop playing this junk. I mean, give it up.
There's only way you can get them to stop is stop supporting them. Quit buying crates. Goodness sakes. Stop buying crates.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Neither do I.
All right. Well, man, we have...
Ooh. Yeah.
We're out of time and we have not
covered literally half the
first quarter of the show notes. So I'm just going to... I'm just going to like talk... I'm going to just list off some of the things we would have talked about and you can go check out the show notes.
I'm sorry. This is my fault. I feel really bad. Because there's some good
the
stuff
Black
in
Death here. Has some, the Black Death has some new female art that they're putting out as far as hairstyles, and some clothing and things like that. Unturned has a new version out, and I put a link to the blog post talking about the new 4. Whatever version that they're coming out with. Sarion, I have a link to there talking about some news with some fixes that they did for that in a recent hotfix patch. We have a Rust update. That's a video link to that. You can go check it out. Miscreated put out a hotfix, which is a small thing. Dead Matter had a diary post that kind of just shows some development updates for that game. Survive the Nights. We have just a link to some update notes about that.
Yeah, it's coming out early December. Yeah, early December.
Okay, so people
for Kickstarters and backers. Yeah.
Conan put out a hot fix. They also have a newsletter, which talks about some of the upcoming changes that are going to be coming into Conan Exiles. So you can check that out. And one thing we didn't cover was with H1Z1, they had a post about the FPS in the game.
And then I posted something in here. If people are interested in, if you hate yourself and you're interested in reading, there's a very extensive post with Twitch links from big streamers like Doctor and all these other people, and it just pretty much says you've killed your game. Congratulations, Zabrik, you've killed your game. It's a very extensive post, a very good read if you're interested in that. So that's in the show notes, infectionpodcast.com. Also, we are watching and monitoring the Life is Feudal MMO. Brian and I both have keys. We're waiting for it to. Mine still is not available. It's installed. It's popped in. It won't let me.
I
play
own
it.
Life is Feudal, so I should get a key anyways. So we're hopefully holding on to one
For a giveaway.
If they send me a key, then I'll get one because I have it on Steam. So then we'll have one for giveaway.
Yeah, we do
so
have
we're
one
just
for
kind of
giveaway.
waiting to see.
Because we got 2 keys.
Well, but yeah, I'm just saying as long as I get one for owning Life is Feudal, which supposedly
gotcha.
we'll have.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so we are watching.
So then we'll be doing that. And actually, Deacon has been playing that game.
Yep.
So he's been playing on it. So we'll get some more information from him. I see him putting posts throughout the day talking about it inside of Discord. So
yes, and so real quick with current players, I'm just gonna mention the current players on a couple games. So they mentioned massive amounts of players currently playing Just Survive. 1,857 people. The 7-day peak is literally 3,159. So there's no massive amount of people. It's literally thousands of people. King of the Kale currently playing that 10,575. Ark's got just shy of 30,000 people currently playing that. 7 Days to Die, I wanted to bring up. We haven't talked about that in a while. Currently playing that at 11,000. The 24-hour peak, almost 14,000. And the 7-day peak, just a couple players short of 19,000. And then PUBG, slow week in terms of the 7-day peak. It's only up 33,000 from last week. So it's at 2,940,000 and some change. So that's quickly heading towards 300,000, but it is not there yet. So that's a very quick, truncated current players. And I see we have a giveaway, Brian. What are we giving away?
Yes, so I'm giving away a copy of Wasteland. And this is the game that actually kickstarted.
Okay.
It is a $40 game. Actually, wait, no, this is the original Wasteland. Sorry. So this is the Wasteland 1, I think. I'll have to double check that. Wasteland is a post-apocalyptic RPG classic turn-based game. Let me double check which one I'm giving away to make sure I say the right one. Yeah, so this is the original Wasteland. So this was put out in 1988.
Wow.
And so this is the original Wasteland that they kind of did a remake of with the Kickstarter. But it's a very positive rating. This is a game that had a really good cult following on it. But this is Wasteland. It's about $6 right now on Steam. But this is the current working version, because if you had a Wasteland back then, whatever disc you had it on won't work anymore on Windows. So this is the one that works inside of Steam.
There you go.
So, all right. So let's go and tip of the weeks, where I go through and either I talk about a specific game or I'll talk about a general gaming tip. This week we are talking about Call of Duty World War II.
Woo!
This is tip of the week.
Here we go.
All right. So I found a way to, at least for me, to help improve accuracy. So with like a newer player like myself. And also it will work for people that play a lot, because it'll help them warm up inside of a game. One thing you can do is go inside of the game modes, create a custom game, a custom match. And this is going to be kind of like a shooting gallery. So you set the settings to free for all. And then you set you can set the rule for unlimited time, unlimited score. And then you set inside of this, you set your health to the health of the zombies, whatever,
Bots.
the guys that are coming at you, the bots, to 100%, 50%. And you put your health regen to fast in this lobby. Under lobby options, you can click, make sure you put the join in progress to no, because you don't want your friends coming in there and messing with you when you're sitting here practicing, because I know Nick would. And so make sure that people cannot join you from the outside. And then you put the bots level to recruit, because the point of this shooting gallery is not to sit there and have a really tough like competition, you want to get into the habit of turning quickly and shooting. So you put the level to recruit, and then what's actually setting the difficulty level in this lobby is actually the number of bots that you have. So let's say you put it to around 13 bots, and then that will be a constant kind of rolling in of players of the bots that are coming in. And then the point of having the 150% health is it takes more shots to kill them than it would take in a normal game. So it makes you get into the habit of actually having to get a few more shots into each of those zombies, so that you have that habit. And then when you get into a real game and you turn around and you're shooting at these other players, it'll seem a little bit easier, because they're going to be moving differently. It's going to be harder to shoot real players anyways. And so once finished, you can save that custom game mode, put it as shooting gallery or something like that. Now, when you're going and setting this, you want to set your attachments, because you want this to be something that you have a lot of ammo, and it's a gun that's consistent, not a huge amount of kickback, because it's not so much learning the gun, you're just learning the skill of turning. You have guys coming in from all different directions, turning quickly and shooting different people, and reacting quickly to that. So I'd recommend using the STG 44.
Oh yeah.
As far as a good weapon, it has one of the highest ammo capacities in the game. Also has a good stability to it. It's not a huge amount of kick. Doesn't sway a lot. And you can choose, like, for your training, basic training band, the primed is a good one. And then have quick draw, and then the extended mags. The extended mags is because you want to make sure you have enough ammo, because you're going to have a lot of these bots coming at you. And so you want to be able to just quickly have these shots. And one thing, another for the map, I would recommend maybe doing the docks, because it's a really good, because you can go up to that area where there's the statue up there.
Yeah.
Yes. And you'll have a lot of the bots just coming from all different directions. So it makes you turn a lot, makes you watch the corners, all the different entrances. And it gives you, having about 13, if like Nick would probably have 15, 16, he could raise up the bots to the level of what he feels comfortable. And it's not about just sitting there and spraying as many bullets as you possibly can. This is to keep this. It's about consistency. You want to be able to put
good quality,
like 5 shots in.
Yeah.
Yeah. You want to put 5 shots into them with 150% health, 4 or 5 shots, and then move on to the next one, 4 or 5 shots. And so you're not sitting there just mowing down. And if you don't, they'll overrun you if you put too much time into each one. You'll run out of ammo quickly. You'll be reloading. So it's a nice test to keep ahead of the stream of bots. It makes a nice test of that. So this is just a little like a shooting gallery to kind of hone your skills. Also a good warm up. You can pre-save it so that whenever maybe you're jumping in, like, all right, I want to warm up a little bit for 5 minutes, jump into this, and you'll just get a really quick. If you want to test some different, this would be a good way to test sniper rifles as well on that more open map. You could jump up onto the top of the train. You'd have a consistent bunch of bots just kind of coming at you from the train, and you could practice sniping from long distances quickly and see how many you could take out at once. So just a nice way. And this is because for me, it's hard to improve as much in the games where I have people just doing so many crazy things to where I don't have time to really, I don't have a shooting gallery. And the one that's in the game to where it has like a shooting range, things don't move.
Yeah.
So this is just a way for kind of improving the way that I play the game to where I react better. So that is my tip of the week.
All right. Honest to God, I'm actually going to try that. Brian,
right,
when I saw on the list Call of Duty World War II tip of the week, I was thinking like, hey, if you open supply crates, make sure you do it in a full headquarters so you get those social points. That was a legitimate tip of the week, and it was a little lengthy. So you'll have the actual details.
Sorry. No, I have all the text.
That's what I'm saying. There was a lot of stuff in it. Brian every week posts the full, I guess you'd say, monologue of the tip of the week, or the full tip with all the details on the website infectionpodcast.com. That was, Brian, I've got to give you a nice little golf clap there. That was a solid tip of the week. Thanks. Lance could use that because he sucks.
I wanted something. I wanted something that would work for a player like you, who has a lot of experience. It still has a benefit to you, and it has a huge benefit to players like Lance and I.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, absolutely. So I'll make sure he listens to this segment. That'll be good.
Yep.
All right. Well,
all right.
Thank you, Brian. now we got to do our before you try to wrap up the show like you did last 2 weeks. We got to give this game away.
Yes, so we'll actually do the giveaway this week.
Yeah.
Before I announce that we're ending this. All right, so let's go ahead and close this. Valp won. Congratulations, Valp won. Valp, he's been a listener of the show for quite some time.
Long time friend of the show.
Thank you very much. All right. And I will send you the keys. I haven't sent out either of those keys yet. I'll send them right after the show's done. Sometimes it's just difficult to try to get all the codes and mail them while I'm focusing. So if you want to find me on the internet at Boise Computer on Twitter, you're more than welcome to check out my blog, biteoftech.com. Of course, if you're interested in playing the game of the week this week, we'll be doing Left 4 Dead 2. So just jump into our Discord. Remember, we are doing it an hour earlier than what was previous. So this is going to be 8 p.m. Eastern. And Left 4 Dead 2, it was just on sale recently. Most people have it. It's a lot of fun when we get in there. Everybody enjoys hanging out, and it's a kind of a mindless shoot 'em up type of a game. If you're looking to join our Discord group, make sure you go to our website. On the right-hand side, there is a join server, little green button that should take you right into our Discord server. It's a free app, really lightweight on the mobile, an easy app to use on the PC as well. And it's a good way to communicate, suggest news for us, and just kind of we pretty much gab back and forth throughout the week on there. So it is a lot of fun. Also, join our Steam group if you want to have notifications of when we're doing our Friday night game night. When the show goes live, we do a notification then as well. So you happen to be at your computer, you'll get a little pop-up, and it makes it really easy. We have all our links for our podcast, and you can even get notified by email if you would like when we have new podcasts out, which is a nice little feature. So if you want to do that, go to our website, infectionpodcast.com, and thank you very much.
Yes, and Brian, thank you very much. We will see you Friday night for some Left 4 Dead. And then, again, if people are around this weekend, there's a decent chance we'll be testing our brand new server. So if you're around this weekend, just keep Discord on the back burner and just keep an eye, and we'll throw an at everyone in there when we start doing that. So, Brian, thank you very much, and thanks to everybody who came out to the live show, and thanks to 14-year-old Gamer, who, of course, donated to us instead of buying Fortnite cheats, and our good friend Langgun44. I think that's about it. You can follow me on Twitter at Nicholas M. Craig. You can head on over to our website, infectionpodcast.com. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in live for episode 50 of Infection, the survival podcast.
150.
Excuse me, 150. That's great. We'll see you next week. Have a good week, everybody.